Dozens of residents living near 700 South in St. George came to hear more about the possibility of a new proposed interchange at 700 South. The exploration of a new interchange is due to the high volume of traffic expected by the year 2050.
We have to make sure that these would be beneficial to the purpose and need of this project, which is specifically the delays and the volumes of traffic we're seeing at the Bluff Street and Boulevard interchanges.
With the population increasing at one of the fastest rates in the nation, transportation planners believe it would be more cost-effective to add a new interchange now to keep traffic flowing in the future.
One thing that's happening is we do have a project to add additional lanes in each direction on I-15 between those two interchanges. The question is if we're going to go underneath that road at some point, whether it's for some local street passage or for an interchange, the profile of the road would need to be raised. With that in mind, and the fact that the legislature has already funded the expansion of I-15, it's critical that this gets studied at this time and that we know whether or not, how to raise that profile of that road to be able to accommodate those functions into the future.
The Utah Department of Transportation brought forth 4 potential options from the last meeting that would bring new access from I-15 into St. George.
As you look at this diagram, on the left you have St. George Boulevard, and on the right you have the Bluff Street interchange. As you can see, the gray number is representing what will happen if a no-build option is selected in 2050. You can see, like, for example, the first one, top left, will say 2,275 feet of queuing. That is going to get down the mainline I-15 quite a ways. As you can see with any of the options shown in the colored figures, any of those options reduce that number significantly. So it's important to know that those differences, although they may seem minor, are actually very significant when you're looking at traffic delay and queuing and backup.
Brought down from 9 to 4 options from the previous meeting, UDOT showed the directions that traffic would flow from 700 South. Most of the traffic under these proposals would join into a new stoplight at 800 East. Those who attended the open meeting had concerns about the livelihood of their communities, especially the safety of those children who walk or ride bikes to school.
School kids come up here and they go that way.
On the sidewalk, it'll still be there.
On the sidewalk that's 6 inches away from a travel lane.
Well, we can make it bigger. I mean, that's something. If that's something they'd
Okay.
like to see. That
What I'm saying is, why is the shared use pass up here when it needs to be used down here? How come we're putting our school children at risk? They now have to cross multiple intersections to get to school.
Residents are also concerned that a new interchange to relieve traffic would be adding additional traffic to other streets connected to the system.
I favor a couple others than the 700 because my worry is what it'll put on Riverside and River Road. And especially if the forecast is to go through that land that is Cox's little farm right there in the future, then everyone's going to be going up there.
The City of St. George's master plan already calls for the widening of 700 South, but hasn't yet tackled that project.
It's going to happen, and it could be within the next year that it happens. But our council members are hearing that from residents. Hey, we need to widen 700 South. Even though that's still going to impact those residents along 700 South, unfortunately, I don't really have an answer for parking.
A new federal grant recently submitted to try and connect the community from the south side of the interstate to the north could bring some solutions to this problem. The City of St. George and UDOT recently applied for a 50-50 match that could open up 400 East and 900 South.
I'm sure you can all imagine, as we went out and stood there on grade to look at this area, this would be a substantial effort. It would most likely take the raising of I-15 somewhere in the range of 16 feet to be able to create those paths for those roads to go under. So as you can imagine, it's not an inexpensive or a small undertaking. If we were fortunate enough to receive the grant, to find the funding to do all this together, and if a 700 South interchange was selected, it would be advantageous to do it all at once.
If we did get the grant, there's an option, there's a possibility that we might get these underpasses during the same time as this construction on I-15 would happen. If we don't get the grant, the huge benefit is UDOT is looking to raise I-15 so that they can come in at some point these underpasses.
Still, others would like to see the new interchange be placed up the road either at Mall Drive or 600 South.
So punch through, that gives you east and west, that gives you the college, that gives you the high school, that takes care of children going along here to the high school. This does nothing for the safety of the children.
There's a bridge there.
There's a bridge there, but the people that serves, based on our traffic analysis, shows that it just goes to that area.
And the proposed northern corridor is not an option, as it still needs approval from the BLM.
So some people say, will the northern corridor solve this problem? The answer is there's still a problem in 2050.
And the final option is to do nothing at all.
Because we believe that it's just going to bring too much traffic to an area that is residential in nature. It's where people live, where children play, where there's 3 schools. I think someone said there's 4 school zones within a mile of this intersection now.
Public comment will be taken until December 10th. Another meeting is expected sometime in January, which could include more options or proposed changes.
I don't envy UDOT. I don't envy our neighborhood. It's, people just need to really be accepting, because, and I'm saying that for UDOT as well.
That it's important to understand they're not connected actions, and nothing at this point other than the widening of I-15 is a guaranteed project for this area.
UDOT is expected to begin its construction on the widening of the interstate in 2024. In St. George, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.